So our first question says, choose the most appropriate and meaning phrasal verb word from the sentence. What is the meaning of insipid? Now, insipid means anything which is, bland, tasteless, lacks flavor, is dull. So, which makes option B the right answer. It is generally, used to describe food, or it can also be used to talk about argument, which is not convincing. So, we can say it's an insipid argument. What does abrogate means? So abrogate means to quash, to abolish, right? So there are also when we evolve, when the laws change, so there are some laws that we need to abrogate, right? So very recently in 2019, for example, Article 370 or some portions of it were abrogated. So option B becomes the right answer. What does the word truculent means? Now, truculent means somebody who's very, quick to arguing, very aggressive and fierce, which makes option B the right answer to this question. She cut the Gordian knot with a bold decision. Gordian knot is an idiom. What it means is that you have taken a complex decision and it's a decisive move, even though it is a difficult one. So, complex decision or issue that is for which you make a decisive move. The new CEO threw down the gauntlet in the first board meeting. Quit his job, issued a challenge, dropped his files, apologized. So it's a new CEO. So of course, that person is not going to quit his job. Drop his file or apologize also makes no sense. So he issued a challenge. So when you throw down the gauntlet, you basically challenge somebody. Option B becomes the right answer. He always rides roughshod over other people's opinion. Ignores or disrespects them, listens patiently, carefully analyzes, repeats their ideas. It is to ignore or disrespect them is the meaning of to ride roughshod. The only fly in the ointment was the broken microphone. So fly in the ointment means, a very small or a trivial issue in the entire scheme of things. So option C fits the bill, which is a minor flaw in the otherwise good situation. She knew she had to toe the line or face consequences. So, toe the line means to draw attention, take a break, break the rule, follow the rules strictly. So, if there are consequences, which means that I need to abide by something, otherwise there are going to be consequences. So, D perfectly suits the situation, which is follow the rules strictly. He still carries the torch for his high school crush, wants revenge, secretly admires or loves someone, send gifts often, or write angry letters. So when you carry the torch, that means you admire or love them. Option B is the most suitable answer here. The government keeps kicking the can down the road. Solve issue quickly, avoid hard decisions by delaying them, making a strong decision or taking the easy route. So when you kick the can, that means you're not, handling it so metaphorically, which means that you avoid hard decisions by delaying them. Option B becomes the answer. The teacher read the Riot Act to the noisy class, gave them extra homework. Now, see, if it is a noisy class, I want to manage it, so I'm not going to. Extra homework won't help. Praising them, singing them a poem won't help also. Scolded them firmly. So, read the Riot Act is to scold someone profusely. Option C suits the idiom. She managed to dash her fears during the presentation. Keep off her fears, back up, put down, keep at bay. So you keep at bay. That means you keep them at distance. Option D becomes the right answer. They managed to dash the contract despite several obstacles. Pin down is to, basically bring it down to a few options. Write off is to nullify the effect. For example, the debts are written off. So that means that they won't be coming. So we are writing it off like a depreciation. They managed to pull off. Pull off means that they managed to back the contract despite several obstacles. Fit the bill. Option C becomes the right answer. It was his dash that led to him to penury. Now, penury means when you become poor. So it was the show off, flamboyance is show off. It was his arrogance. It was his happiness and excitement, or it was his, extravagance, spending more than what is actually necessary. So, because it is monetary in nature, even if somebody is arrogant or showy, doesn't necessarily mean that, that they're going to spend also. So, it is extravagance. That means when you spend more, that led to the penury. Option C becomes the answer here. He dashed himself a stiff drink because making his statement to the police officer. He threw himself, he poured himself, held himself, or sipped. He poured himself a stiff drink. Option B becomes the right answer here. Had it not been her quick thinking, the plan dashed into chaos. Now it is a third conditional. We are talking about something which is contrary to present. So that means that the person was, a quick thinker, but we are just, in a contrary to present situation, we are saying, had it not been the quick thinking. Now, the third conditional will be used. So when we use the third conditional, condition goes in had and result goes in would have. The plan would have descended into chaos. So there's no rocket science to it. It is rule based. Anything which is contrary to our present, we use a third conditional, where the condition will go in a had or a had been, and your result will go in would have. So by that rule, answer becomes option B, Bombay. He speaks as if he dares the theory himself, though he barely understands it. So we are saying that this person assumes that he has written theory when he has not. So this is basically when you are, imagining things, right? Or you're talking about any hypothetical situation that he thinks that he has done it. So it in his imaginary word or hypothetically. So in imaginary or hypothetical things, we use second conditional. In a second conditional, condition goes in a word, right? Or, mostly had and V2 or V3, sorry, and the result goes in word. He speaks as if he had devised the theory himself. Option A, by that rule, becomes correct. If I dash, you were coming, I might have stayed. Now, that means I'm talking about something contrary to present. If I had known, because you're talking about contrary to present, so the third conditional will be used where we use a had in the conditional part. If I had known you were coming, I might have stayed. Option A becomes correct. The sentence below have words that are missing. Choose the best option from the given below to complete the sentence. Achieving space flight enabled humans to begin to explore the solar system and rest of the universe, galaxy, cosmos, all of them can go. Configuration won't go. To understand the many objects and material phenomena ideologies, again, not really decisive plan, that are better observed from a space perspective and to use for human benefit the resources and attributes of the space environment. All of these activities, discovery, scientific understanding, and enormity of the understanding, application of the understanding, or principle of the understanding to serve human purposes are elements of space visualization, space exploration, or space identification. Now, what are we trying to understand? To understand many objects and ideologies. So, up space mein ja rahe ho, you're not going there to understand ideologies. So, which eliminates option A. Option D, we have already eliminated. And the principles of understanding or the applications of understanding. So, of course, it is always applications of understanding and space exploration. We don't say space identification. That's not a combination or a collocation that we use. So B becomes the right answer. Visually strong dash films of the 1920s are dash preserved and suffer from censorship cuts, leading to the dash that they were primitive and barely watchable. Okay. So because there are so many cuts happening, so there's an assumption that, they were barely watchable. And because there are censorship cuts leading to the observation, misconception, accusation, or conclusion. So clearly, large blank looks mostly like misconception or accusation, so we'll hold it. Visually strong, action-packed films or silent films are poorly preserved or badly preserved. Now, when we talk about preservation, the right combination of words is it's poorly preserved and the movies are silent. So they suffer from censorship cuts, leading to a misconception, not an accusation. It's a misconception. People perceive it that way. Every day, more than 1 billion promotional messages are sent that are commercial and educational, inescapable, informative, or unsolicited. Although, so now there's a contrast. So there's some sort of messages which are being sent. Although Dash have used more technology to stop this, firewalls have used government authority regulators. So firewall cannot use something on its own. So the government authorities or regulators have tried to stop it. Advertiser find way around it. Promoters or spammers, it is the spammers, and the messages are unsolicited. No, cited. Unsolicited means when nobody is genuinely looking for it. So there are commercial and unsolicited messages. So you keep on sending them, just so that someday somebody can be interested in the product. Although regulators try to prevent, but spammers who send so many bulk messages, they find a way around it. So option D is the most suitable choice here. The beauty of Dash is that it poses thought-provoking questions and inspires us to think deeply about Dash and life in general, about ourselves and life in general, about language and life in general, animals and life in general, writing and life in general. So kind of we have a hint that's mostly ourselves, but let's read. Further Dash about the ideas and perspectives outlined by different thinkers can help us to gain a better understanding of the word, picture of the word, acquaintance of the word, perspective of the word. So acquaintance is just slight familiarity, not as strong as understanding or perspective. So let's see. Uh, the beauty of the philosophy, because thought-provoking questions are not asked in language, it's not necessarily history, it's not orthography, it is the philosophy that keeps you asking thought-provoking questions, ponder over them, think about yourself and your life, you ponder about the ideas and perspective to give a better understanding or get a better understanding of the world we live in. So option A becomes the right answer to this question. In the following sentence, the incorrect part of the sentence is underlined. Choose the alternative from the 4 given options so that the sentence is rendered correct. His talk on heritage side that has picked up my interest, has brightened, aroused, adopted, got. So something is aroused. When it is interest, we say that it aroused my interest. Option B, Bombay, becomes the right answer. If I had known that you need to go to the airport, so again, third conditional. If it is a had, I need a would have. I should have driven you, should try, would have. So would have by the rule of conditional, third conditional. I would have driven you there. Option C becomes the right answer. Each sentence among the question has a pair of words that are italicized and bold. Among the italicized and bold words, select the most appropriate word to form a correct sentence. He stepped onto the platform, clutching a wrinkled letter he had received just yesterday. Clutching a wrinkled letter. So it will be clutch. So clutch is holding. As a train dissolved into the horizon or disappear, so the train or any object disappears into the horizon, doesn't dissolve. It's not that they do not exist anymore or they blend in that. Just that because of the distance you can't see them, so they disappear. So first is A, second is B. The letter written in squeaky hands or shaky. Squeaky is the sound, right? Mouse makes a squeaky sound. So that's not. Shaky hands told him his long lost brother was waiting in the city. So again, we want a P. With a deep breath, Arjun boarded the train to Kolkata, unsecure of what he awaited or unsure. So when you're, when you don't know what future has for you, you are unsure, not unsecure. Unsecure is more to, do with the security issue. For years, Arjun believed that his brother had died in floods that snuck the village or struck the village, that struck the village. So struck is a past form of strike. So we want A. So the combination that we are looking for is A, 3 B's and then A, which is option D, and that becomes the answer to this question. He shipped the old key into the rusty lock, unsure if it would still run. So you don't ship the key, you slip the key. You try to open it. So we want a B. Her grandmother has always warned her never to enter the attic after sunset, or warned. Waned is to reduce. So the moon wanes, right? So half the time when the moon, grows smaller in size, it is a waning moon. We don't want wane here. We want warned because the grandmother refused or prohibited her from going. So which is like a warning. The wooden stairs creaked or crinkled. So it is the creaked because, the sound that wood makes is creaking sound. Crinkling is of a paper or of clothes. The door groaned or gloomed open. The door groaned open. Again, we're talking about sound, revealing a room filled with dust, cobwebs, in a single glowing box. Curiosity, slower than fear or stronger than fear, had drawn her back to the house after all these years. So we are comparing that, of course, she was fearful, but the curiosity was way more stronger. So we want 2 B's and 3 A's. Again, we find this combination is option D, which becomes our answer. Can you identify the grammatically incorrect sentence from each set? I would have helped you if you had asked. So, conditional, third conditional satisfies the rule. So, option A is correct. The sentence is correct, so it cannot be my answer. She acts as if she were royalty, which is correct. We are talking about imaginary condition where we use a verb, that is correct. He demanded that she leaves immediately. Now, it is a subjunctive sentence because A person is demanding from B. So, he demanded that we use a plural verb, not a singular verb, that she leave immediately would be the correct choice here. So, option C becomes the incorrect one and hence our answer. By the time we got there, they had already gone. So, this is correct. So, C is the incorrect one. If she had been more careful, she wouldn't be in trouble now. Okay, we have a had, so would not have is what we require, but let's hold on. She had completed the assignment before the deadline. I wish I knew the answer yesterday. I wish I had known the answer yesterday, not knew the answer yesterday. She suggested that he takes a break. I rather you come early tomorrow. He told me that he will not. It's a reported sentence. He told me. So in reported, we do not use a will, we use a would. Similarly, in reported, we don't use a can, we say would. He told me he could help me. He told me that he would be late. It's not will be late. So option C becomes the right answer here. The movie starts at 7 p.m. So we leave at 6. No, so we will leave at 6. She had been working on the report all night. Sounds correct. No sooner had he opened the door than. So no sooner is used with a than. With no sooner, verb comes first, then the subject, which is again just, happening here. So no corrections. By next month, they will have been married for 25 years, which is again correct. We are using a future perfect tense here. So movie starts at 7 p.m. So we will leave at 6 would be correct. Not we leave at 6. Identify the appropriate conclusion based on the premises. All successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. Okay. Some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs. So some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs. Okay. 1 second. So all risk takers are successful entrepreneurs. Not true because they are anyway saying some risk takers are not. Some successful entrepreneurs are not risk takers. Now, they've already said that all successful entrepreneurs are risk takers, so this cannot be true. Some risk takers may not be entrepreneurs, because they're saying some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs, which means that some risk takers may not be entrepreneurs. They just like risk taking, but maybe not the entrepreneurial way. Yes. If a plant gets sunlight, it grows. The plant did not get the sunlight. It's a logical consistency question. So this is the cause, this is the effect. Now, if the effect has not happened, that the plant has not grown, what can be the possible reason that the cause didn't happen? So the plant did not get the sunlight. Option B becomes the right answer. Only if the service is online will the website load. The website did not load. Now, please think that the website is not loading, which means that, and what is the condition of the website to load? There's only one condition, that the server has to be online. So if the website didn't get load, that means that the server must be offline. So option A becomes the right answer to this question. No philosophers are mathematicians. No philosophers are mathematicians. All logicians are philosophers. So all logicians are mathematicians cannot be true because logicians are philosophers and philosophers are not mathematicians. No logician is a mathematician, correct, because all logicians fall in the category of philosophers And they've already stated no philosopher is a mathematician. So by inference, we can say that yes, no logician is a mathematician. So which makes option B the right answer. The Central Statistical Office recently reported adding 4.1 million jobs in the formal sector, defined as those with government mandated social security benefits like employment provident fund. Over the past few months, similar estimates have been released by Niti Aayog and official economists, provoking skepticism from informed observers. Okay. So first paragraph is saying that, Niti Aayog and CSO, all of them are claiming that there have been 4.1 million jobs have been added to the formal sector, but economists have their own skepticism, doubt about it. The reliability of the official estimate is questionable for two reasons. First, they are based on administrative record from social security schemes whose completeness and accuracy are uncertain. Second, formal sector workers can access multiple schemes, creating a risk of double counting, as their report fails to clarify how this issue is managed, leading experts sought to release administrative data for independent verification. So second paragraph talks about reason why economists have their own doubt. Furthermore, the official data faces a conceptual issue. The social scheme outlined previously apply to only establishments that meet a specific employment threshold and pertain to certain types of enterprises. For example, companies with 20 or more employees in the manufacturing sector must provide the employees' provident fund to all workers. Consequently, if a factory's workforce increase from 90 to 20 employees, it will fall under the purview of the EPF regulation. Herein lies the fault. The formal sector stands at the apex of Indian labor market pyramid, with agriculture at the bottom employing 50% of the workforce. The remaining workers are in the non-farm informal sector spread across rural and urban areas. This sector has grown in recent decades and at the expense of the other two above-mentioned sectors. Moreover, nearly half of the informal labor workers are employed in households or on own account enterprise, often engaging in unpaid family labor. A defining characteristic of informal labor markets is varying degree of underemployment or disguised unemployment. Since 1972 to 73, the 5-yearly unemployment surveys by the National Sample Survey have been essential for analyzing labor market trends. While infrequent, these surveys have offered valuable insights into the complexities of the labor market. Access to household level data lately has spawned rich and granular analysis of the informal economy. The last US was conducted in 2011-2012, leaving no reliable means to update employment trends, and annual periodic labor force survey has replaced the EUS. Still, it will take time for these new databases to provide stable estimates. Meanwhile, the Labor Bureau has conducted household surveys since 2010-11, revealing the decline in the working population between 2013 to 14 and 2015 to 16, indicating a deteriorating employment situation. Which of the following is the synonym of the word skepticism? So skepticism was used in para 1. So economists are doubting, so that means there is a distrust and there is a cynicism. So that means when you question things, when you do not take them at face value, conviction and belief fall in the same ambit. So conviction also means that you have a belief in something, which is not the synonym at all. So first and third, which are listed as option C, becomes the answer. Which of the following is or are the antonym of spawned? So the passage talked about that, there's some data which is spawned further analysis. So spawned means that it has helped you to create something. Opposite of that will be to destroy, which is option A. Drawing from the first paragraph, which of the following would weaken the importance of adding 4.1 million jobs to the economy as per the CSO report? The report is silent about the majority of the workforce engaged in the informal sector. The informal sector accounts for 12 to 15% of Indian workforce, and the estimate supplements the data on organized sector employment reported regularly by the Ministry of Labor and Employment. Now, this is something which will not weaken it. So, if we say that, they have not given us the data about the informal sector, that's weakening. And if we say formal sector employs only 12 to 15% of workforce, which means that even if you have added 4.1 million jobs, this is only for that 12 to 15%. So what about the other 85%, What is the report about that? So both of them weakens the stance that they have created too many jobs. So 1 and 2, option C becomes the right answer. Which of the following is a suitable gist of the paragraph 3? Social Security database show which workers are signed up for the program either as entitlement or voluntarily members rather than listing them by their jobs. B says that the Social Security database offers a list of workers and indicate the employment levels in the company. Employee can enroll in Social Security scheme by reaching a number of specified by the laws. Now, B and C are absolutely absurd and out of context. The official data is checked against the social scheme register to ensure accurate employment figures. This is not what paragraph 3 talks about. So, paragraph 3 talks about Social Security database, which shows workers are signed up for the programs either as entitlement or voluntarily members rather than listing them by their jobs. Which of the following are some of the features of the non-farm informal labor markets? The non-farmal informal labor markets have grown in the recent decades, written as it is in the passage. Almost all workers are self-employed or engaged in unpaid labor. This is too extreme. Disguised employment is prevalent in the non-farm informal labor market. This is also written in the passage, stated in the passage. So first and third, which is option D. That becomes the answer. Which of the following is or are true? The Labor Bureau conducts household survey like the annual period labor force survey. The result of the household survey points to the worsening employment situation. This is correct. The NSS conducts unemployment surveys every 2 years. That's not true. It's done, once in 10 years or roughly around that. So only the second one holds true, that yes, according to the household surveys, which we do in between the EUS surveys, it indicates the worsening situation of employment, literally the last line of the passage. During the bleak winter months, when gardens lie dormant and trees are bare, the vibrant green of houseplants can be a soothing balm for our spirit. Many people visit gardens to reconnect with nature and breathe in the freshness that reminds them of spring. With growing awareness about the harmful chemicals we introduce into our homes, like those from dry cleaning and various cleaners, there's an increasing need for plants that can improve indoor air quality. Many household products release chemicals such as formaldehyde, chlorine, and benzene, which can mimic allergy symptoms during winter when windows are shut. This reaction is termed from multiple chemical sensitivity. Fortunately, research shows that certain household plants can help filter these harmful substances, promoting a healthier living environment. So, second paragraph talks about how we can cope with the chemical sensitivity and how can we deal with the harmful chemicals by using some of the home or inside plants, indoor plants. Ferns and palms are effective at removing chemicals from the air and home. They release moisture during photosynthesis, drawing pollutants into their leaves. NASA has even found that palms can eliminate traces of formaldehyde quickly in controlled environment. Both plants are ancient, over 100 million old, and can live for 100 years or more. Their longevity and ability to grow tall up to 65 feet may enhance their environment purifying qualities. So basically, we are talking about how to employ plants to deal with the chemical sensitivity. What is the main idea of the passage? Our house is full of contaminants. Even if it is true, that's not the message of the passage. Any plant in the house is welcome. All plants release moisture to extreme. Certain plants can purify our home from many harmful chemicals, which is true. Option D becomes the answer. According to the passage, when a few harmful chemicals combine, they cause us to experience allergy, cause a monumental task for homeowners, contribute to a syndrome called multiple chemical sensitivity. Option C is correct, mentioned in para 2. The passage indicates that the research has only been conducted using specific plants, has only been conducted by NASA, has not identified the source of these chemical impurities, has only benefited long-term space exploration, conducted using specific plants. So they mentioned palm and ferns. So option A is the correct answer. The passage infers a relationship between the antiquity of ferns and palms and their ability to live long, purify lives, grow leaves that are strong, react successfully in research experiment. This to purify the air. They're old, they can last, and that means that they can continue purifying the air. A good title for this passage is, it doesn't have the subject, research in the new millennium, home dangers, no. Common houseplants may purify your homes, very appropriate, contains the name of the subject and the aspects. We are talking about houseplants, we are talking about their air purifying qualities. Despite technological advances in sufficient food production, 1 in 3 people globally lacks access to proper nutrition, with around 800 million going to bed hungry each night. Poor diets are now the leading risk factors for global disease, surpassing the combined impact of drugs, tobacco, and alcohol. Women and children are especially affected, with 156 million stunted children in the world, 2/5 of the women anemic, and millions facing malnutrition. To address these issues, the third target of the Sustainable Development Goal 12 aims to have global food wastage and reduce losses along the supply chain. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that global food loss of $1 trillion, enough to feed those hungry, particularly in countries like India, which produces enough food for its population of 1.3 billion. The Sustainable Development Goal have spotlighted food loss and waste, and we are beginning to see more attentive discussion on the subject. At the recently held Food Congress in Dusseldorf in early May 2017, the focus was on identifying possible solutions through better farming practices, use of technology, better information, change in consumer behavior. Estimates of food waste and food loss range between 30 to 50% for developed and emerging countries. Due to poor infrastructure, food waste is prevalent at home in developed nations and during harvesting and transport in developing countries. In India, inadequate cold storage contributes to significant food loss, emphasizing the need for investment in this area. This wastage squanders resources, depletes nutrition and affects the economy, with 40% food loss of about $7.5 million. The Global Nutrition Report 2016 has highlighted that India's overall tardy progress in addressing chronic undernutrition manifests in stunting, low weight for age, wasting, low weight for height, and micronutrient deficiency or hidden hunger. India, home to a quarter of the world's undernourished, faces challenges in workforce productivity and economic potential. To enhance agricultural growth, India must increase investment in research, diversify crop, adopt technological innovations, addressing food loss through better infrastructure, information systems, and public-private partnership is crucial for transforming the agricultural landscape and improving food security. Target 3 of the Sustainable Development Goal 12 is, Para 2 has the answer to this. Food wastage, education, poverty, terrorism. The passage is about food wastage, which gives option A the right answer. Consider the following statement regarding the recently held Food Congress. It was held in Mumbai. No mention in the passage. It is an Indian initiative for the world. No mention in the passage. Both the sentences are incorrect, making option C the right answer to the question. According to the passage, what is the reason behind food loss problems? Supply chain, storage, poor infrastructure. So all of these are the issue, all of the above listed in third and fourth paragraph. Which of the following are correct inferences from the passage? Agricultural practices must be carried out traditionally to improve productivity. No, they said that actually we need to technologically adapt, right? We need to have more technological driven agriculture. Better infrastructure supports agricultural output. So second is definitely true. What is hidden hunger? Second last paragraph answers hidden hunger is micronutrient deficiency, option A.